Listen, Free Guy is a PG-13 blockbuster specifically designed to be a crowd pleaser that kind of plays like a video game movie while also being a Ryan Reynolds rom-com, but definitely maybe is a
wholly original blockbuster summer film
that takes inspiration from a bunch of others just so it could set up its own sequel. But honestly, I had a lot of fun with it. And you know it's a hit when people are leaving the theater quoting the movie.
Catchphrase.
So let me explain. So the idea for this movie was pitched a while ago when director Shawn Levy was given a script by Reynolds after being introduced to each other by a mutual friend known as none other than Hugh Jackman.
Ryan Reynolds is a complete and total Sorry, man, I didn't think the truce was actually real.
Levy actually declined it at first. Obviously, he would go on to make it, and Hugh even voices one of the early masked players because you know he was going to get his cut. Then they got the writer who did Ready Player One, obviously, and Inspector Gadget in order to make it a go, go, go.
Well, look, I'm not totally convinced that we don't live in a video game. It's kind of how I came up with it.
Now, full spoilers. We follow a guy named Guy who's a non-playable character who doesn't realize that he just makes up the building blocks for the people who are actually playing the game. And the concept originated from Reynolds' old job at a Safeway, while his brother was working at a Kinko's and had a uniform that would go on to inspire the everyday guy's outfit that honestly would make for one of the easiest Halloween costumes.
The shirt, the reason that shirt never comes untucked in the movie is because it's actually underwear as well.
Are you serious? You out there wearing bodysuits?
Yep. That thing is a full-on, I call it shunderwear. It's a shirt that's also underwear. It is, so it never comes untucked in all my action scenes because it's, Guy's an NPC. He doesn't come untucked.
Guy's practically Emmett from the Lego movie, going through the same routine on a daily basis. Man only has one set of utensils because they only programmed him to eat cereal. His calendar's even missing dates. He has his own penny-proud closet. And it isn't until he finds the courage to snatch another character's hero glasses that he finally turns into the main character. Through murder.
He's just resting.
In pieces! That man is dead!
He's so sleepy.
Now, on the one hand, it is cool to see him put on the glasses and it kind of be like his awakening, him finding his purpose. He even gets his goldfish a bigger bowl as his own world has expanded. But then on the flip side to that, it's also just him putting on the glasses so that he is able to buy the stuff that he couldn't before. Like there's this subtle product placement that resembles Ryan's own gin bottle. He finally buys the big up shoes that he's been wanting. And of course they would have an upward swoosh as a logo. And it just becomes more apparent that he's in a video game.
Just these funny moments that upon the second viewing, a great moment where in the background of one of these shots, you see a guy just walking into a wall over and over again. I don't know, just kind of stood out to me. I thought that was funny. So
in my opinion, I think the movie does a good job at switching between the video game world and the real world since they shot it with different lenses. And it's in the real world where we meet Millie and Keys, who several fortnights ago had created their own indie game that was getting a lot of buzz before, they got stung by the corporate world. Antoine is the corporate overlord that told them that life itself never goes as planned and pretty much stole their game to create what ends up being Free City, which is where Guy lives. But the fact that this company is called Tsunami, which plays off Blizzard, who's currently going through an avalanche, that had the entire theater flooded with laughter. Besides Guy's journey, a big part of the movie is Keys and Millie's relationship. After getting their game stolen, Keys has pretty much locked himself into being a corporate puppet. Dude is serving as a server cop who comes in to fix any glitches in the Matrix. But while he sees himself as the author of secret messages because he's a master coder, boy goes on a spree of exposition like he's in a video game cutscene himself.
He delivers exposition better than anyone I've ever seen in my life. You make it entertaining and riveting, all the while looking like a goddamn snack.
Millie, meanwhile, is looking for evidence that her original build exists within Free City in order to get back at Antoine. And so she spends more time on her computer than a Minecraft kid with their mom's credit card.
Wow, life in the big city. Ain't nothing like it.
Unbeknownst to her, Key wishes to unlock her heart to the point that he coded her personality into the game, which is exactly why Guy ends up falling in love with her avatar, since honestly they're practically the same person. They enjoy the same coffee, the same ice cream, they like the same Mariah Carey song that they overly licensed until the third act where it could have actually helped. Yet while Key's already lost his game, somehow the biggest L that this guy goes through is having his partner fall in love with a digital sim over his living, breathing self.
Wait, you let who kiss you?
Guy.
There's not a button for that.
Oh, he found the button.
High-key drama, but talk about a low-key kiss. That said, the best relationship was easily these two.
Hey!
See, my Guy and his buddy are the prime examples of what a friendly friendship is, always looking out for each other no matter what. It's like they both saw Elf before filming and just emulated that, as Laurel leveled up from a TSA agent to a full-out security guard.
This is the greatest cup of coffee of all time.
I want to write a song about it.
I want to dance to that song with my body.
Now, because the writers don't really get how video games work or how servers work, it's very obvious, they never are able to catch Guy, so instead they pitch it that he becomes this international phenomenon where we get a montage of how he's impacted the culture. They have him as a Jeopardy question in between categories that includes Reynolds' favorites such as Canadian history and famous Blakes. IGN is hyping up the game, saying it feels like you're a free guy, and even John Krasinski shows up as an anonymous interview amidst all the YouTube actors that they hired to act like YouTube actors. But I do think it was a smart decision to reach out to the streamers that they had as a part of the movie, because from a marketing standpoint, it's good to get a part of the gaming community on board to see the movie. And ever since Deadpool, Reynolds has always tapped into online personalities and was smart enough to make them a part of it, which literally took an entire pandemic for other studios to finally see the potential. But to see Jacksepticeye go from interviewing Reynolds to doing the interviews alongside him is a huge level up.
Well, they came to us with a whole crew of people. So at least it was on home turf, in our own rooms.
I went out there and they did it was, to walk into this big warehouse and then to just see like a tint of blue lighter on the corner. And it's like, what's that? And it literally is just like, oh, they just duplicated my setup in like 2 hours. Like, okay.
Best part though was seeing the corner reactors just sitting there watching all the footage, knowing good and damn well that in the real world they would get hit with a... The biggest breakthrough, though, ends up being the literal creation of AI. It turns out that their original game ended up spawning sentient life as Guy becomes human due to all the possibilities and emotions that he's going through.
That's a new one.
And so they now see the upcoming Free City sequel as like a literal genocide to these NPCs since they're all going to get deleted. And no lie, they even get into some existential questions like, what's the meaning of life? They're questioning the creator, all while trying to find Eden as the bad guy tries killing Eve.
You've met God?
Yes, he's an absolute troll.
For real, it was like a whole checklist. Like, this character right here is confronted as they talk about women's rights. There's citizens' rights with this confrontation right here. A literal whole speech about gun rights. A third act about sentient rights as the NPCs rise together.
A lot of people sometimes feel like they've spent their day being shot, stabbed, run over, smashed in the face and stripped of their dignity, and that's kind of what happens with NPCs.
Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't end up going the route of having the servers go extinct for a game that was probably no longer being taken care of in the real world and thus was going to be decommissioned, but instead Taika and Shawn were really inspired to do their own spin on Farquaad because they based Antoine off of all of the annoying executives that they've had to deal with in the film industry.
IPs and sequels, that is the thing that people want.
And I guess they were right. Now, I personally love Taika, and I think the man is hilarious, but the best lines must have been hiding in the shadows, because I thought most of his lines in this were okay, which is wild considering that they just let the man riff.
I really want to share with the world what would be the Dreams DVD featurette, which is like a 29-minute supercut of Taika Waititi's improvisations as Antoine.
Taika was filming, then he was improvising for about 10 minutes, and I just sat there on my day off on a chair and watched him do it.
The funniest part, honestly, might just be watching a movie about a big corporation stealing ideas from independent artists and then seeing that it's a movie that's been swooped under the Disney umbrella, because we're talking about a company that doesn't just buy indies. They buy out whole-ass corporations, which I guess ended up coming in handy here.
Wouldn't it be cool if Disney let us play with one of those toys in its chest? So we literally wrote an email to like the kings of Disney, and we said, hey, could we maybe have one of these toys to play with in our little movie Free Guy? And to our astonishment, they said yes. And we're like, yes to which? And they said yes to all.
Now, keeping it a buck, the way that they shouted out Marvel and Star Wars, well, I did enjoy it, is just as blatant as what Space Jam did with all the WB properties. So, again, while I think that the scene is funny, it just shows that people don't really care about the criticism of not showing fan service. It just varies depending on how much they like that fan service, how much they like those properties, and in the end kind of proves that you did kind of have the biggest scene come from a comic book.
Everything is a sequel, or everything is based on a comic book or IP. So for us, it was really important to make a wholly original blockbuster summer film.
The real flex, though, was the licensed music. Like, if you're a YouTuber, you know how big that is, because I've seen people just show the cover and get blocked.
Why don't we populate the movie with another layer of celebrity cameos in the voice casting? And that was literally just us sitting there on a couch together, pooling our cell phone, contacts. All of those celebrity cameos were done on iPhone voice memos. that we put straight from the iPhone into the movie.
The studio dynamics is even more interesting when you realize that Reynolds runs his own marketing company, which, in my opinion, is why his trailers and teasers are always so spot on.
I'd initially pitched to Disney writing I'd actually written it already. It was a short film to go in front of Free Guy of Deadpool interrogating the hunter who killed Bambi's mom.
So it's interesting to see Ryan go from a free guy at Fox, for the most part, and now being under the Disney umbrella in where he has to re-pitch all of his humor.
They were really not into it though. Disney is not into a ton of laughing at themselves, but they eventually got there and allowed us to do it. But it took a couple of calls, to be honest. It took a couple of calls to say, please, 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 I promise, this is not gonna look terrible on you. It's only gonna look good. So, yeah.
And if he had a little pushback pitch in that, let's just hope Deadpool goes okay.
Ryan, what the hell was that? We're Disney now, so we gotta up our merchandising game. Just go with it, please.
In the end, this duo dupes Taika into getting their game back once they find the evidence that they need and are finally able to embrace playing co-op, while Guy fights his alter ego Dude and realizes in a movie about finding purpose that the best way to reach others aiming to destroy your world isn't to hurt them back, but to also set them free. Which of course you can do by watching Free Guy.
When you're sat watching it at home or in the cinema.
Thank you all for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What was your favorite joke in the movie? What was something that you wish they would have done differently? Did the streamers work for you? What part do you think is going to age also as well? First of all, I didn't know that this was Jodie Comer's first role. Like she's so talented. They had her flexing all her different accents like it was a part of a video game character customization. She's going to have a long career. I know that she's already got her Emmys under her belt, but you know, the fact that this is her first movie and she's got a couple more on the way, it's just going to show how big of an actress she's going to be. But in terms of this movie, it is what I wanted like a dozen other movies to be. I'm still not a fan of everybody crying, you know, originality and not sequels and not comics, and then kind of like falling into all of those. But nonetheless, I did think it was enjoyable. And a lot of that comes with how they actually film the movies.
He sat there in the edit room with me, cutting the movie, coming up with new ideas, new jokes, new scenes, which we would then go and shoot with literally a home camera on the weekends. And we would edit it into the movie and try new versions of the movie.
Please, stepmother.
That was a Ryan joke pitch. And I was like, should we just go to my house, grab two of my daughters and shoot it? We shot it in my daughter's bedroom. It's still in the movie.
So I'm really curious to see what y'all think about this one, what other movies you're curious for in the horizon. And until next time, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And don't have a good day. Have a great day.